15 years ago, I sustained a spinal cord injury that left me paralyzed from the neck down, but also reliant on a ventilator to breathe. You can kind of look at my injury as being very similar to the one the late actor Christopher Reeves had. What I'd like to speak with you about is how my life is and how I've worked through adversity. Growing up, sports played a major role in my life. I started playing baseball when I was 5 years old. A love of sports was instilled in me by my father. He used to give me money every time I got a double or better in my games. But when I got to high school, I wrestled and ran cross country. I loved these sports because they weren't like your typical, your traditional team sports. Instead, individual effort determined whether you won or lost. But out of all the sports that I played, skateboarding was the thing I loved to do the best. I learned to ride a skateboard when I was 8 years old. When I was 12, I saw the movie Back to the Future, and in it, Michael J. Fox jumped over a car and a skateboard. As corny as it sounds, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Well, from that moment on, I was hooked. I skated every chance I got. And by the time I was 16, I was sponsored by a skateboard shop called Eastern Border. At this point in my life, me and my friends were riding ramps and skate parks all over New England, from Laconia, New Hampshire to Providence, Rhode Island. When I graduated high school, I moved to San Diego to surf, to skate the abundant amount of ramps and skate parks that they had, but also to skate in backyard swimming pools. And this is what it's like in case no one's seen pool skating before. After a year of living in San Diego, I got a job at a surf shop. It was a great job for multiple reasons, but one of the main benefits was it was across the street from the beach, so I could surf on my lunch breaks. Another benefit through the shop is we got free passes to go snowboarding at the local mountains. At this point in my life, surfing, skating, and snowboarding consumed all of my free time. And when I say this, not a day passed that I didn't do one or the other. And sometimes I did all three in one day. Southern California is unique. You could wake up in the morning, go and surf, and then drive 2 hours to the local mountains, snowboard all afternoon, and then on your way home, hit up a skate park. I love these sports because they took me everywhere. I've been to places all over the country. I used to love taking road trips to skate new pools, road trips down to Mexico to surf, or road trips to go snowboard new mountains. Through these activities, I've met people from all over the world. It's kind of hard to explain in words, but unless you've done these activities and lived this lifestyle, there's a certain bond that is shared between us, a kind of shared sense of community. And it was that community that I loved being a part of. 15 years ago, I had a diving accident that took all this stuff away. It took everything that I love away from me. I woke up 2 days after the accident to one of the most surreal moments of my life. It was like I was waking up in this strange dream world. After this initial phase, my emotions went into overdrive. I was scared and I was confused. And it took even a couple more days to even process what had happened to me. And when I realized what happened, I was just completely, utterly devastated. After 3 months in San Diego, I moved back to Massachusetts to live with my mom and stepdad. My family was able to get me a van, which was great, because then I can drive to see my friends and go to the beach, parties, things like that. But it was the first time that I saw my friends skate that the gravity of my situation really was revealed to me. I remember as I was watching them skate, I wanted to ride so bad. And at that moment, the reality of what I really lost hit me. But even worse is I I kind of had this sense that, that community of surfers and skaters, that was gone. I was no longer part of that because they had taken off to go skate a pool somewhere, and I knew it wasn't handicap accessible. I felt alone. I felt detached from my friends, and I felt detached from the things that I loved to do. Essentially, what the accident did is it created this huge void in my life, and it was a void that I never thought I would ever fulfill again. So instead of dwelling on trying to figure out what I wanted to do to try to fill that void, I thought to myself, maybe I can just lead a productive life. I didn't know which avenue to turn, whether it was going to be a job or volunteer work or a hobby. I didn't know. So what I decided to do was go back to school. Now, this wasn't an easy decision for me, especially a kid that grew up and my whole existence revolved around physical activities. In a way, I didn't think I was smart enough. In a sense, I wasn't. I was kind of intimidated by school. To kind of put this in perspective, was a memory I had before my accident. I was making some extra cash just handing out flyers. And we would go to like schools and record shops and things like that and hand out the flyers. And one day I was on the campus of the University of Santa Barbara. It's a beautiful campus that overlooks the Pacific Ocean. And I remember thinking to myself, man, there must be some incredibly smart people that go to school here. And the things that are probably learning here, I would never understand or be capable of learning. And at that moment, I got into it with a security guard. He was hassling me for handing out flyers. Needless to say, that kind of strengthened my notion that I didn't belong here. But despite my reservations, I enrolled at a local community college, Mount Wachusett. And to my surprise, the first class went well. I realized I wasn't as dumb as I thought. So after that, I enrolled in their general studies program with the intention of trying to take as many classes as I could just to find out what I was interested in and what could actually be a viable vocation for a high-level quadriplegic like myself. And what I found was that history, it just captured my attention. But my interest in perspective history changed when I came to Fitchburg State. My first class was an eye-opener. It was a upper division course on the French Revolution, not simply as an event, but as an idea. And even though I put a lot of effort into the class, I struggled with a few of the concepts, in particular trying to explain the historiographical significance of revolutionary scholarship. And this actually frustrated me to the point where I even questioned my ability to pursue a history degree. But I persevered and got through the class and had a decent grade. And the class actually was great because what it did is it introduced me to historiographical issues that helped me think more like an historian. My following classes, they went well, and even though they were challenging and stressful at times, it only strengthened my passion for history. To me, history is one of the most dynamic subjects because it encompasses a multitude of other disciplines: economics, sociology, psychology, philosophy, religion, art, and architecture, just to name a few. For me, what I've found with history is that it extends beyond the classroom. It goes beyond a textbook. For me, it's fascinating to go down to the Antiquarian Society and have them pull up a newspaper from the 1840s, to be able to read that. There's something powerful about that. Or listening to radio programs issued by the Office of War Information in 1942 as America prepared for World War II. History strengthened my skills as a researcher. It enhanced my ability to think more critically and analytically. It gave me the skills to break down an author's historical argument. All these things, they might seem like obvious skills to the average student, but for me, this is something new. And especially for the person you saw in those photos, one who didn't think he was able to go to school. Instead, I feel, when I interact with other students and professors, sharing ideas, I feel a part of this academic community as much as I felt that community that I belong to amongst the surfers and skaters. My life has changed. I've developed a new passion, and it's one that I never thought that I would develop before, and that's in academics. It has made me rethink my life and the direction I want to take it. After graduating, I look forward to tutoring history so I can maybe help other students struggle in where they struggle, if they're struggling with the issues that I struggled with. History's instilled in me a passion for learning, and this passion is going to stay with me the rest of my life. What I'd like to say is that void that I talked about earlier that was created by my accident, it's been filled. And what I've found through this journey is that we as individuals, we have the capacity to change. We have the ability to adapt to new situations, no matter how physically debilitating they are. And we could find new passions in life that drive and motivate us. And like that community of surfers and skaters, the study of history and the academic community all share a common interest. And that is that in the ways that they connect us as human beings. And I just want to say that my new pool, my new surf spot, my new mountain to snowboard is now a passion for learning in the field of history. Thank you.